Well, let's do it. I wanted to pull this up. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. But talking about kind of what we're talking about, this is something that I've that I've started to do myself, because one of the things we all know is that it's difficult to stay focused on the income generating activity, which for us is often making the calls, doing the activity. And so what I've started doing, I use Todoist. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but it's like a task checklist kind of system that helps me stay organized, day to day, week to week, month to month. And so what I've been doing is taking my daily tasks every day and kind of categorizing them, using something similar to this Eisenhower Matrix, which basically uh, helps me figure out what's important and prioritizing certain things and putting certain things into other categories, either something that I should schedule down the road to complete, something that I can just completely get rid of, or something potentially that I could be delegating to a VA. And so if you guys haven't heard of this, I would encourage you to just take a look at it. I think it's a good way to prioritize your time and your tasks and keep focused on what's important in your day. So I just wanted to bring it up because I've been using a system like this to try and keep myself focused. So it's called the Eisenhower Matrix, this particular one. There's several iterations of it, but this is the one that I use for the example. So check it out. We'll talk a little bit about sort of this concept too in today's topic, which is tips and techniques for managing time and resources, maximizing efficiencies to close more deals. So what does all that mean? What we're talking about is time and resource management. So as we all know, speed in this business is crucial. And so allocating your resources properly and keeping yourself, in check, will ultimately help you to improve your negotiations, your relationships, your processes. So it's important that we manage our time, because, analysis paralysis, procrastination, all these things are real. We've all been guilty of them. And in order to battle those inner struggles, and use something like the Eisenhower Matrix to identify what's important on a day-to-day basis, we can protect ourselves and our time from being sucked away from, some of these less important tasks or distractions. So prioritizing high value tasks again, in this business, it's making calls, following up, lead generation, negotiating your deals. Those are the things that are gonna make you money in this business, and everything else, especially when you're getting started, is just a distraction. Overanalyzing, talking to unmotivated sellers, talking to trying to figure out what your website is going to look like or how it's performing. All of these things are just a distraction from what you should be doing, which is lead generation, making your calls, talking to agents, talking to sellers, and following up. So in order to do that, I encourage time blocking was one of the first things that really helped me stay focused. So I like to make my lead gen calls in the afternoon. So pretty much every afternoon from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock or 2 to 5 is blocked off in my calendar to make calls. That's all I spend those hours doing primarily. Um, of course, there's administrative stuff always, especially when you're getting started, especially when you're a solo operator. Things like marketing, whatever meetings you might have, or coffees or whatever. I usually try and do that stuff early in the morning, and then in the afternoon is my lead generation time. So I would encourage you guys to think about how you spend your time during the day. Make sure you're setting time aside and holding yourself accountable to the time that you are dedicating to lead generation. And then, you know, maybe not right away, but I'm certainly in a spot where I should be doing a lot more delegating of tasks. Um, and VAs can be great for that, as Alex and I were talking about. As it pertains to cold callers, I think it works. I think it depends on your market and the size of your market, and the amount of leads that they're able to call plays a big factor into the quality of leads that come in and the type of leads that you want to be talking to. Um, so, you know, what what has worked for me has always been being very specific. Again, going back to zone, going back to um, focusing on a market, a seller type, and just hammering my lead gen in that one specific area. And then trying to delegate some of these other activities, specifically marketing, email stuff, administrative stuff. I think we talk later about some transaction coordination. I can speak to that. I've done way too much of my own transaction coordination in the past, and probably my last 10 or so transactions, I have hired a VA company, and they're not they're not VAs. They're a transaction coordination company that basically I put a property under contract, I send them the details, I send them the contracts, and they take everything, they take all the information, and they basically manage the transaction for me. So I don't have to send everything to title and get title work going and make sure the EMD is being collected and connect with the buyer and the seller and make sure that their information is being collected by the title company. There are companies out there that just do transaction coordination, and they charge me $7.95 per file. But what I've been doing is just passing that on to the buyer. So I tack on a $7.95 transaction coordination fee as a closing cost in all my transactions. And I haven't yet had a buyer say anything about it, ask me to remove it. I may do it, I may pay for it if it's an issue, but it has yet to be an issue for me. So it's one thing that I do delegate still, and it's been extremely helpful for my business to stay focused on, again, the high value tasks. So that would be something, as you guys are getting going, I would recommend looking at. Um, the company I use is called Where's the chat? EZREI, I think. I'll put it in the chat. EZREI. That's not, what is it? EZREI. Shoot, I gotta look it up. EZREI Closings. I'll show you guys my board. So it's just like I don't know, a pipeline. I got 4 transactions in process right now. Um, it's like a dashboard. You can go in, see notes, see all the information, see where the transaction is in process, communicate with the transaction coordinator. EZREIClosings.com. Let me throw that in the chat. Easy. What's going on here? EZREI Closings.com. Okay. Let's go. But they've been pretty good. And then leveraging technology, obviously, having a CRM, having automations to handle follow-up, to handle drip campaigns. My CRM again is called ReSimpli, ReSimpli, Simpli, just like my business. It's a good little investor software built for wholesalers, built for investors. It sends all the automations, sends texts, sends emails, helps me stay organized, organize my pipeline. And so if you guys don't have a CRM, that's fine. I started out using an Excel spreadsheet. I mean, you can do it as simply, I know people that just do it on a legal pad still, believe it or not. But having the technology there is obviously going to save you a lot of time, confusion, and the ability to set automations, I think, is the biggest piece with these technologies now, where you can put a lead in your system, set them on a drip automation, send them automated texts, ringless voicemails, direct mail, and they're pretty cool. So, trying to think what I've got so many bolt-ons to mine now. I think it's like probably $300 a month, but I think the baseline is like maybe 100 a month. Um, but you so resource management techniques. Um, Make sure as you are building your business and having conversations with sellers that you're also building a buyer's list, and that's going to ultimately help you to move your deals, obviously, and eliminate any sort of downtime with deal flow. You put a property under contract, you've got a solid buyer's list together already, you send it out, you don't have to hunt and peck for buyers. That takes a lot of time. Obviously, understanding and knowing your market, whether you have a local MLS subscription, if you're licensed, or something like Batch Leads, PropStream, Deal Machine, any of these additional resources are going to help you understand your market. And then again, we talk a little bit about outsourcing some of these administrative tasks, marketing stuff, transaction coordination. If you're fortunate enough to have a partner, maybe you guys can split some responsibilities. I'll do the lead gen, you do the follow-up, I'll do the, administrative, you do the transaction coordination. It's a team sport, whether they're partners or resources. you're only going to be as successful as your team, which I'm finding out is quite difficult. You can't do everything by yourself. I've been doing it for 2.5 years now. I've gotten better. I've gotten more efficient. I've gotten more deals done as time has gone by, but these deals take time. There's a lot of administrative stuff. And if you're trying to do everything, put the property under contract, transaction coordination, find your buyer, I mean, you're going to get stuck in a bog. And so you got to start thinking about what things you can leverage off. And of course, continuing to build and leverage your network, whether that's grid, whether that's, I-81 or Cash Flow Breakfast Club. These are all great places to meet other investors, agents, contractors. So you're not scrambling around looking for what you need when the time comes. Um, and then processes are obviously important in this business. So creating workflows or processes around deal analysis, around how you're getting your contract signed, how you're dispoing or finding buyers, um, is important. Understanding your market helps a ton with deal analysis. For, you know, for example, in Front Royal, I could pretty much look at just about anything right now and know just where, based on the location or the neighborhood or the area, what that property might be worth, on the out sale and where I need to be, on a purchase price. I use dot loop for all my contract signing. Everything is in there already, pre-loaded. My contracts, all I got to do is, one of the things that I'm leveraging, actually, somebody on my team is for contracts, sending out contracts. So I just send the information to Melinda, who's on my team, and say, Melinda, I need you to send an offer for XYZ property, all the contract information you can find in MLS or whatever. And she's also doing my disposition now. So she's been finding me buyers, and it's one less thing that I have to do. We use jot forms. We use, what else do we use? We use, what is our, ConvertKit is our mail disposition mailing platform that we use. So we have preloaded you know disposition, like emails that go out. All you do is put a picture of the property, put in the property information, send it out to the buyers list. It's all preloaded. So building those little microsystems, creating repeatable, workflows is going to help you get through deals quicker and get on to the next deal. Tools, again, a good CRM can do a lot of this as far as keeping track of your deals. Again, mine, ReSimply, has a great pipeline system that tracks my deals throughout the process, timelines, any tasks that need to be done can all go in there. And templates, again, I talked a little bit about that. Template everything, make it repeatable. Make anything that you're doing, you should be documenting and making processes to make the next deal easier. So as you guys are starting to do deals, just be thinking about these things, because ultimately all this stuff is going to lead to more opportunities, you being able to do more opportunities as you scale and start doing more deals. And then things to avoid, obviously, again, we talked about analysis paralysis, over analyzing, spending too much time worrying about a single deal instead of going out looking for a better or your next opportunity. I did talk a little bit about this as well, underestimating your time for due diligence. So you put a property under contract, there's always something, and it always takes longer than you think. So having those microsystems, those processes in place, is going to help you uh, get through the due diligence period, get through the contract to close period, and get you onto your next deal a lot quicker. And then burnout, obviously, anybody that's been making calls or trying to find deals knows this is very real. So again, I go back to time blocking when it comes to burnout. Make time for yourself, make time to take care of yourself, but also, be strategic about when you're making your calls so that you're not getting burnt out, um, because that is very real. I get it. I still get it, especially when it feels like things aren't going your way or you feel like you're not finding deals. Burnout becomes very real, and it's something that you kind of got to just fight through from time to time, and know that if you're consistent with your activity, that your next deal will come, so long as you're not getting burnt out and just giving up, throwing your hands up. Um, so in conclusion, make sure we're prioritizing, make sure we're delegating when we can, make sure we're using some tools, and streamlining our processes as we go, as we start doing deals, start documenting, start putting these little microsystems in place, and ultimately that will lead to faster, more efficient deals down the line. Obviously, if you haven't done a deal, if you're trying to get your first deal, um, maybe some of this stuff doesn't apply, but the sooner that you can get yourself into a deal and start thinking about this stuff as you're going through it, ultimately that's going to lead to, more speed and more knowledge too. That way you don't have to go back and try and remember what happened on the last one. Be documenting, be creating these little microsystems, put things into spreadsheets or CRMs if you have them, to streamline your processes and help you stay on track. I've said a lot. Does anybody have any questions? I know this is a kind of a basic conversation, but I wanted to take it back because I know the struggle with staying on task, staying organized, trying to keep your deals in line, trying to find deals. But does anybody have any thoughts or questions around any of that today? Nobody? Does anybody have any questions about anything we haven't talked about, any deals that are going on, anything we can chat about for a couple minutes? It's 2 minutes to 5. I don't mind hanging out for a few more minutes if you guys have any questions, thoughts, concerns.
So when working with another group, um, um, one part of the process is to have like sort of a preliminary analysis. And one time when I was working with another group, there was a spreadsheet that was passed around, right? Which, all right, put in this is your stuff for the RV. Here's the tax in the area. Here's the rent. Blah blah blah. Just something to prompt you so that you only spend maybe 2 or 5 minutes going to whatever websites, put the information in, and then it's like, okay, you have a good picture of the deal, right? And routinely, this one guy just destroyed those spreadsheets. Like he would, like, instead of putting the value here and here, and then okay, the value in the end is not right, so go back and no, he would get out a calculator and he would destroy that cell. He would calculate it his own way and put those values. And by the time we get a spreadsheet from him, it's ruined. Like, and it's like, oh, but the other ones confuse me or something. The whole point of having some kind of automated system is to save you time so that you set things up at first And that goes the same with any of what you were talking about today, whether it's the your drip campaign. Uh, it's meant so that you save time, work with the system, and somehow there's just characters out there that can't do that. I don't get it. So how can you destroy spreadsheets like
Yeah.
right?
I don't know. I've got so many different iterations of deal underwriting spreadsheets, and it's hard to even
Well,
keep track.
yeah, sometimes you have to, of course, but like,
Yeah.
I mean, there was like no equal signs left by the time this guy was done with any spreadsheet. I don't know.
Yeah. Make your own copies. That's all I can say. Make your own copies and keep them to yourself. Alex had his hand up, but what did he say? Consider hiring acquisitions. Yeah, I have interviewed a couple people. I have an interview tomorrow as well, I think. Is it tomorrow? Maybe Wednesday. Yeah, I think the direction, Alex, that I'm kind of leaning right now is looking for somebody to bring into my business in-house. Um, I think for right now, what I've been looking for is really more of like uh, I think maybe I've talked about this before, but I guess in the agent business, it's like an agent partner, somebody that can do a lot of the groundwork, um, and allow me to just kind of get deals and sort of throw them over my shoulder to somebody that can problem solve and um, get them to closing, get them dispoed, whatever needs to be done. I mean, I have a gal on my team right now who I've got doing some agent outreach, and she's been helping me with some dispo. So I think what has worked for me is me being the acquisitions person. So I'm leaning towards looking for more of like a administrative boots on the ground type person that can, run to properties, hold open houses, take photos, meet with sellers, get documents signed, do like all of the back end stuff, and I can just focus on putting deals in the pipeline, um, until I can, potentially train that person, groom that person to do acquisitions, or bring somebody in with some experience, and let them kind of do it on their own. But uh, I'm probably gonna go down that path before I go back to the VAs again. Although I've been thinking about maybe trying VAs in a different market, um, just to experiment a little bit, like maybe a larger market, um, where I can give them some more data and just kind of let them loose a little bit. Um, but for now, I'm sort of falling into keeping everything in house, trying to find somebody good here locally that I can train, um, to do that for me down the road. Um, so that's kind of where I'm at. Anybody else? Thoughts, questions, anything on your all's brains?
That big rehab you said you're starting, is that the Warrenton one?
No,
Oh, I was
no,
gonna be
we're
really
not.
excited.
No, that's the one we put under we found a buyer for and signed a buyer over the weekend. No, that thing's a monster. I was just glad to be able to find somebody for it. I said we took a smaller assignment fee on it, but it came from an agent out of Front Royal that I wanted to, perform for. Um, so no, Gage and I talked about tackling that thing, and that's like a probably a 6 month, um 4 to 6 month rehab on that thing. Um, so no, we passed on it. The one that I'm doing is in Winchester. It's just a little 3-2, 3-1. We're turning it into a 3-1.5. It's like 1,000 square feet, small.
Is it the battle one?
Battle Ave. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, God, that thing has been a thorn in my side for 6 months. I'm just happy to be closed on it. Although I say that, the one thing I didn't mention was we got an exception or an exemption or something. I forget what they called it from the title company, because what the most recent holdup with it was this judgment with Chase Bank, um, which after it was like a credit card, some kind of credit card judgment or something with Chase Bank, and it was like, I want to say it was like 5 grand. It was no more than 10 grand. Maybe it was five or $7,000 or something. But what we found out was there was some kind of case or lawsuit or something, and after talking to Chase Bank, um, they're no longer able to, allowed to, or something collect on this particular judgment for this lien. So it was released, but apparently now I know, and in case anybody ever runs into a judgment with Chase Bank, um, they take forever to do anything, and they don't communicate. You can't talk to anybody. Everything's like, I think, done with, I don't even know what, stones on a wall, because um, there's literally nothing we could do to get this thing moved forward. And it was months of going back and forth. They supposedly released this lien to XYZ attorney, uh, to basically give us a letter saying that, that the lien was released. And after like 2 months of waiting for said letter, we found out that this attorney said, well, we don't have anything to do with Chase Bank nor this lien from 15 years ago. So this was like several weeks ago. I felt like we were back at square one. And eventually we landed on, well, the title company is going to allow us to close on it, but we still need to get this judgment released. Otherwise, when we go to sell the property, it's going to show up on the next title search. So we're closing on the property, but we don't yet have this judgment released as of today. Although we finally got some kind of written statement from Chase Bank that it was released. Um, but we still don't have the letter that we need from whoever attorney, to actually get it removed from the title report. So I'm hoping in the 3 weeks that it's going to take us to renovate this property, probably because it's so small, that we can get to the bottom of this release. Otherwise, I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to be holding on to a nicely renovated property for a while, which I really don't want to have to do. Paying interest and insurance. So, but it'll be a cool little project. Uh, I'll be doing some posting around it, I'm sure, in the coming weeks. Chase Bank, man, they're a nightmare.
That's how they got their name. You got to chase them.
Yeah, no shit. They are,
Them and their money glitch. Their ATM money glitch.
I don't know about that, but I started
So
doing
on
some research
uh,
about them and these judgments, and it was a lot of people complaining that they've never heard a single word from Chase Bank, and they feel like they don't even exist on this planet. So
Yeah, there was a thing on TikTok saying if you have Chase, there's a glitch to get money out. You get an envelope and then you
Oh
type in that
yeah.
you're depositing $10,000 and then you can withdraw your whole amount and it's free.
Yeah, I did
You
see
put it in
something
an empty
about that.
envelope.
I think I saw somebody getting arrested at an ATM on, whatever, Instagram
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
Cool. Well, that's all I have, unless anybody else. I got a couple more minutes, but otherwise, let's see what. Uh, oh, I closed it out. I was gonna see what our next topic was, but um, I'm probably gonna bring Chris in on one of these next couple trainings to talk about his door knocking skills that he's apparently working very well. Because I'm curious myself, how he's getting so many deals locked up. But other than that, appreciate you guys. Thank you all for being here. Hit me up. Y'all know how to get a hold of me. If I can help you out, I'm here for you. Have a good week. Make some calls, get some deals, and I'll see everybody next week.